supply chain friends. I hope you're doing well today. I'm Brooke Elliott, and I'm here to provide you professional development tips and tricks through power supply. Today, I'm going to be talking about assessments. And let's be honest, as a coach and a consultant, assessments are near and dear to my heart. I love having individuals that I coach take assessments so that they can become more self-aware and they can grow. But then I also really enjoy working with organizations that implement assessments on their team so they can grow better together. And of course, I've adopted assessments that I believe truly work, and I've seen them work. But there's so many out there, right? I mean, there's Strengths Finder, which is fantastic. The Clifton Strengths Finder assessment identifies an individual's natural talents and how they are really differentiated compared to the next person. And then we've got the Myers-Briggs type indicator that really looks at type and personality preferences. And then we've got DISC and DISC plus values, where DISC is measuring behavioral styles and the values index is measuring the motivational drivers and styles as well, right? So there's so many more, right? So at the end of the day, I can understand how one can feel like when they hear the word assessment, that they just want to walk away because they're like, oh, not another assessment. I, though, am a huge advocate of assessments because they are a foundation in learning more about yourself, understanding yourself, becoming more self-aware, and it's all about self-discovery so that we can grow as individuals. And what I have found is that there are a lot of simple assessments and there are a lot of complex assessments. And it may be easy for us to shy away from the complex assessments because it's hard for us to interpret them. And then in addition to that, it's hard for us to implement them because there's just too much to understand. And we really aren't sure how to implement it. But what I can say is that when an individual or an organization or team adopts a specific assessment and they take the time and effort to implement it correctly, and it becomes a common language, that is truly when you can see the results. But it takes that continued effort in that path of that one assessment to have success. But it can happen. Okay, so this is where we can see, this is really the point of today's episode, is that there can be assessment overkill, but there's actually also some really great benefits to understanding and implementing multiple assessments. And the main reason here is because people think and behave and act differently. For example, the Strengths Finder assessment may really resonate with an individual, especially when they resonate with their strengths. But on the other hand, somebody else may really benefit from the Myers-Briggs type indicator, right? So it's really understanding your team and understanding the collective grouping of assessments that will truly make a difference. And it's okay at the end of the day to adopt a few, maybe not all of them, right? We don't want to get too over ourselves and over our heads when it comes to this. But looking across the board at various assessments and deciding which ones make sense for the individuals on your team now, but then also the individuals on your team in the future. And what that does, right, it gives you perspective. It gives you perspective on what you can learn about your team members and what they can learn about each other. So it not only gives the leader perspective, it gives the team perspective. So you might ask, well, Brooke, what do I do next? What is the first step that I should take? A simple Google search on assessments to implement inside organizations and teams is a great start. And you can start to maybe look for the words that may equal the challenges and the obstacles that your team is facing, and maybe what is limiting them and holding them back as a team. And you will find a plethora of assessments to review. And in that process of evaluation, I would suggest to solidify your own opinion and your own perspective, but then take that back to the team and discuss your findings and learnings and your perspective and see what they say. Perhaps there have been assessments that their friends, family, other coworkers have taken that have truly benefited them, and they're interested. Add that to the list. And then also pick and choose what you implement based on what resonates and what your organization adopts, right? So there are reasons why your HR team or your L&D team adopt the assessments that they do, okay? And you want to, of course, take advantage of those assessments because, again, it's establishing a common language amongst the culture. And so for when individuals grow within the organization and perhaps they go from team to team, then they are all talking the same talk because they've taken the same assessments. So lots of different things that individuals can discuss when it comes to assessment results. But what it does is it brings everyone together, establishes that common language, and it gives individuals a fantastic foundation to grow upon. And it also helps leaders in identifying development opportunities for the staff. So I know that I've been rambling on about assessments, but again, I'm obviously very passionate about them. And I thought it was important to come to you today with just some general advice and perspective on how to approach assessment work if it's something that you're considering in the future. I have been in positions where I have seen the fantastic results of assessments come to fruition and see leaders leverage those results so that people can grow in the way that they need to grow. And if we're just not paying attention to it or ignoring the results that can come from assessments, then I question, how are we truly getting to know each other in ways more than just conversation? I hope this provided you a little bit of perspective today, and I'm always happy to answer questions or have a discussion. Please reach out. I hope this was helpful. We'll talk soon.